Hey guys, Bill Soriano here from Pittsburgh. It's Sunday about 10:36 a.m. Eastern Time on January 19th, 2025. Wanted to make a quick video. And of course, as you guys know, this is our company's impulse scanner right here. And if you've watched my videos, you know that we're in the process of doing a 100 trade challenge using our impulse scanner along with our community's brand new indicator. And so, again, in order to get this scanner, you have to become a customer of our company that we're with. Once you become a customer of the company, you get access to the scanner, all the educational trainers on that platform, all the live sessions, all their recordings as well. And you also become a customer of our community, and you get access to everything we have in our community for free once you join the company that we're with. One of those things is our Discord channel. Another thing is our custom indicator that we just came out with that we're using for this 100 trade challenge. And you get access to this process document here, which, if you're brand new, shows you how to set up a demo account, right? And then our basic strategy here, which is called our RSI impulse strategy. Again, using our company's impulse scanner and our community's brand new custom indicator, proprietary indicator, which we're calling the ATH RSI um, arrow, cross arrows, right? RSI enhanced. And it basically gives you a potential entry based off of the RSI readings. And that instead of having to watch the chart all day, right? Instead of having to do top-down analysis on all the pairs, you simply go to our impulse scanner and find out which pairs are trending on all time frames. Then you go to your trading view charts and you set your alerts for our indicator to go off. And then that tells you there could be a potential trade with that pair. You don't have to sit at the computer all day long. Okay. Now, what I'm making this video today is I wanted to talk about my blue zone trading strategy today. And I did want to update you on the fact that we are in that 100 trade challenge with our company's impulse scanner and our proprietary RSI indicator, ATH RSI enhanced indicator, I should call it. And so this is a strategy that I teach. This is a free strategy. You don't really need to be part of our company or our community to access this strategy. This is my Blue Zone trading strategy, which is a Fibonacci retracement strategy. And the way I teach it here on this page is it's on the higher time frames. So you look for the trend on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, and then you take your trades on the 1 hour, right? What I've been getting the feedback on this is the strategy is great, but there's just very few trades. And that's why I started making some videos showing our scalping strategy with the impulse scanner and the and our proprietary indicator, because people want to have you have to have some trading opportunities in order to make money during the week, and we were getting very few with this blue zone strategy. Even though I did show a counter trend strategy for it as well, still there's just not enough trades going off. So what I decided to do was I'm going to drop down the time frames a little bit, and I'm going to do a 25 trade block of trades, and I'm going to see how it works taking the trades on the 15-minute. So essentially the only difference is the time frames. So instead of looking for the trend on the daily and the 4 hour, we're going to look for the trend on the 4 hour and the 1 hour. And again, we want to confirm that the trend is going the same way, right, on those two higher time frames. So instead of the daily and 4 hour, we're going to use the 4 hour and 1 hour. Once our blue zone is hit, instead of dropping down to the 1 hour to look to take a trade, we're going to drop all the way down to the 15-minute. Okay. So let me show you what this would look like here. And this, if you do this strategy the way that I teach it, I show you how to load the indicators, because everything else is the same now as what's on this page, except the time frames are just changing. So this shows you the two indicators that we use, the moving average indicator, the DeLorean EMA. That's an indicator you can put on TradingView for free that gives you 5 EMAs. You're able to load 5 different time frame, 5 different exponential moving averages. And then the Lux Algo Smart Money Concepts, which gives you your potential order blocks to trade from. And we use that to determine which swing highs and which swing lows to use to draw our fib, right? Because that's the really subjective thing is some people will draw from this low to this high, and some people will use other lows and highs. So this way, we simply on the 15 on the fifth on the 1 hour time frame now. We used to do it on the 4 hour, but now we're going to do it on the 1 hour, which I'm going to show you in a second. You're going to draw a fib on the 1 hour, and you're going to use that Lux Algo Smart Money Concepts indicator to help you find which swing low and which swing high to use to draw your fib. Okay, so it makes this very, very objective instead of subjective, right? Very, very objective. Okay, so let me show you what I mean here. First of all, you can see here I have these pairs highlighted here, red, or these are where the 4 hour and the 1 hour are both bearish. So we're looking to trade these short, and then the blue ones, the 4 hour and 1 hour are both bullish. So we're looking to trade those long. Now let's look at some of these that I don't have highlighted because they're just not. The main thing is this: when you go to the 4 hour time frame, you have to have a clear trend. And again, identifying a trend could be very, very subjective, right? And if you're brand new or even an intermediate trader, you just don't know how to do it, okay? And really, we're not looking for the overall trend, like the long, we don't want to have to zoom all the way out here. You know what I mean? Okay, you zoom all the way out, you can see it's moving up, but then you can see it's moving down. Then you can see it kind of tries to move back up again. So, how do you figure this out? And so what I do is using the two free indicators on TradingView here, the DeLorean EMA. We have three moving average lines plotted here. The dark blue one here is the 800 EMA. The teal one is the 50, and this gray one is the 200. So on the 4 hour, when you come to the 4 hour, you have to have a clear trend direction, meaning that for it to be bullish, right, this 50 should be above the 200 and they should both be above the 800. For it to be bearish, this 50 should be clearly below the 200 and they should both be below the 800. Now you can see here that this 50 has not yet dropped down below that 200. So when you come to the 4 hour time frame, if you don't have a clear directional bias, this is what this is giving you, then you will not trade that pair. And that's why there's no blue or red flag here. Look at Chef JPY. Okay, same thing. See? Okay, you have the 50-day, the 50 EMA below the 800, but the 200 has not yet dropped below there yet. So this is not a clear, definite trend bias. So we skip this pair. Now let's look at one like EUR-AUD. And now here you can see that we have a clear directional bias, right? Let's just remove the drawings here for a second. Okay, the 50 is above the 200, and both the 50 and the 200 are above the 800. That's what you need to see on the 4 hour time frame. Now, when you drop down to the 1 hour, the 50 can move, but I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Okay, so this is clearly bullish on the 4 hour. When you drop down to the 1 hour, you can see here that it's still bullish, right? But the 50 now has dropped below the 200. That's okay, because in order for price to pull back to our blue zone, it has to do that. So again, it's a very objective strategy, like I told you. The 4 hour has to be clear and definite trend bias, right? Those moving average lines have to line up just like this, right? 50, 200, 800 for buys, and then the opposite way for sells, right? Which I'll show you one in a minute here. So we drop down to the 1 hour. We see that this is bullish, even though this 50 now is below the 200. It hasn't dropped below the 800, so we're still okay here. So now what we do is, using our Lux Algo Smart Money Concepts indicator, we're looking for buys and it's going to give us an order block down here. See, this highlighted area is a bullish order block. It's blue. It's coming from this significant swing low right here. This order block is pink. It's a bearish one. We're not worried about that because we're only looking to trade this long because the 4 hour and the 1 hour are synced bullish. Okay. So now this is where when you draw a fib, the subjective part would come in. Some people would say, hey, well, let's use this low. Some others would say, hey, let's use this low. Hey, let's use this low here, right? So what do you do? And that's why we use our indicator to tell us where to draw our fib. And so just come here for buys. We're going to draw it from the bottom up to the top. And so this gives us our blue zone right here, which starts at the 78.6 retracement to the 100. And that's simply where we set our alert, right? And that's a 1 hour alert. Now, we can also look for counter trend trades sometimes, okay? But just first of all, so you know, once this alert goes off, then we drop down to the 15-minute and we look for an entry. We look for a reason to enter that trade. And that can be the buy shift where the 5 EMA crosses and closes above the 13 EMA. That can be our indicator. If you are a customer of our community, you will have access to our indicator, so you could use that as well. And also, once those go off, we can also look for a second confirmation, which is a break of structure of the first formed flat top or flat bottom. Okay. And this is the entry model that we use for our scalping strategy. It also works well for the blue zone trading strategy as well. But if we do drop down to the 15, you see how we have these bearish order blocks here. And these are areas where we can potentially draw fibs to take counter trend trades. Okay. You can see when price moved down to here, it created this one. Let's just go a little further back here just to show you. When price moved from here to here, it created this order block here. And you can see how price pulls back to what would be a blue zone there, right? If we drew a fib from here to here inside of the lower time frame, we can see price would hit that blue zone there, and then it makes a move down. Okay. Now, once price moves down below this 61.8 area, that's where you no longer want to look for counter trend trades. Okay. And you would never take a counter trend trade below the 50 area. Okay, you can see the 50 area here, even though this is the higher time frame fib that we're looking at, it's the 1 hour fib, right? It still shows up on the 15-minute in the same places, right? So this is important to remember. See here, price hasn't yet closed. Price hasn't yet gone below that 61.8. So when it pulls back, you could still take a trade, right? And then as long as that entry would happen before you get below this 50, right? Because remember, this up here would be your for a sell, this is your premium zone. That's where you want to take your sells, right? Once price drops below the 50, this becomes a discount zone where people look to take more buys, okay? Or other traders will look to take more buys. So I don't want to really confuse you with all that. But again, if you watch these videos on the blue zone, right, you watch the counter trend one. If you watch the entry model one, right now, the only entry model one is the buy or sell shift, which I teach you in this video here. But that's just important to note. Again, by dropping down on time frames, we may not have to take counter trend trades. We may be able to get plenty of trades going with the trend by dropping down to the 4 hour, 1 hour, and 15 as opposed to a daily 4 hour and 1 hour. Right? So let's look at a bearish example here. So on the 4 hour, you can see how you can see this is clearly 50, 200, 800, right? So it's clearly a bearish bias on the 4 hour, okay? And then when you drop down to the 1 hour, you see you had a bearish bias here, right? As price moved to this low. And now, as price is working its way back to our blue zone, the 50 will cross the 200. It has to do that in order to get back to our blue zone. It may even cross this 800 as well, okay? But you can see, if I remove the drawings here, we have this order block highlighted right here, this pink bearish order block. Again, EURCAD is bearish on the 4 hour and 1 hour, right? As we're showing you. And so we only want to take sales unless we're taking a counter trend inside of our 4 hour fib, right? Which I just showed you in the last pair. But so here, see, instead of, some people might say, well, why don't you draw your fib from here to here? Well, you could see price already went through that fib zone, right? So that's why we use this area right here. This makes this strategy very objective by using the order blocks, by installing the Luxelgo Smart Money Concepts indicator the way I show you in the video. And again, these indicators are free on TradingView. You may have to have the first paid level account in order to get this many indicators on here. If you just have a free account, I think they only give you one indicator, okay? So we draw the fib from this significant high to this significant low for a selling opportunity. And we see our blue zone is right here. And we see that price is almost at our blue zone. So now, since price already passed the 61.8, we would not look for any counter trend trades at this time, right? Now, we may have been able to look for them down here, right? But at this point, now we wouldn't do that. We would just simply wait for price to come into the blue zone. Our alert goes off, then we drop down to the 15-minute and we look for an entry, right? And you can see on the 15-minute, I have two different moving averages. I have a yellow line and a red line. The yellow is the 5, the red is the 13. And so once price gets in that area, one of our entry models are waiting for a sell shift, which is that yellow 5 EMA crossing and closing below the red 13 EMA. That's one. Now, if you have access to our proprietary indicator, you may get, that may go off when price is in the blue zone as well. And then the other thing you could do is, if you say here, if you were saying, let's say this was up in the blue zone here, let's say our indicator went off, right? And so let's say we looked, we have a flat bottom right here, a red candle followed by a blue candle. And so once that would break, we can enter that trade, right, as a sell. Of course, now this is too far up in order to do that. Show you what I mean here. Right, at this point, price is already above our 61.8. So we wouldn't look to do that, but, you know, no, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about something else. Check that. Disregard that last statement that I made. I was thinking we were doing counter trend, which we weren't. Okay, so you can see here, what I'm saying is there's the indicator, there's a sell shift where the yellow moving average crosses down and closes below. And then, of course, you get a breakup structure of a flat bottom as well. But again, it probably would be a losing trade because at this point, we're not up into the blue zone yet. So that's why you wouldn't want to take any of these trades. As you can see here, it just keeps going up. So we wouldn't look to take the trade until price gets into our blue zone, right? So let me just show you a couple more here so you know what I'm saying. So EUR-JPY is another pair that if you look on the 4-hour chart, you can see we have a clear bearish bias, right? The 50 is below the 200 and we're both below the 800. We look on the 1 hour. Right now we have a clear bearish bias on the 1 hour as well because price has not yet made a significant move back to our blue zone. Okay, so again, let's just remove the drawings here. The indicator is giving us this beautiful order block right here, bearish order block. So that tells us that's the high that we're going to use. You can see that the indicator is also telling you, right, that that's a high right there. And it's also a strong high, which is also good because that means it will probably not be broken if it goes through it. Okay. So this is telling you it's a lower high, right? And so if we draw our fib from there down to there, right? This gives us our blue zone area right here. It starts at the 78.6 retracement. And that's where we put our alert. Okay. Boom. Now, since price has not yet made it back to the 61 or the 50, you could see that the 50 is still down below here. Now you can see as price makes its way back up here to the blue zone, this 50 EMA is obviously more than likely going to cross back above the 200. Okay. That's okay. It has to do that in order to get back into our blue zone. Okay. And then, of course, if you wanted to look for a counter trend trade, since price has not yet made it back to the 61.8, right? You could drop down to the 15-minute and see if there's a bullish order block inside of our 1 hour fib zone. You see this blue order block down here, but that is outside of our zone. So that's not valid. So we would need to wait for price to probably break this high here. And then that would give us an order block probably in this area right here that we could potentially draw a lower time frame fib and trade from counter trend if we wanted to. Again, counter trend trades are more risky. You don't want to do a lot of them, you know, maybe one a week is good. They are more risky because they're going against the trend. And so there's more chance that price is just going to turn around and continue in the trend, continue the way it was going before it does reach our blue zone. Okay. So let's do one more here so you understand what I'm saying. Let's look at NZD CAD, or let's find a bearish one here, a bullish one, AUD NZD. So again, on the 4 hour time frame, we can see a clear trend bias, right? The 50s above the 200, they're both above the 800. When we drop down to the 1 hour, same thing. Okay. Price has not yet made its move back to our blue zone. So that 50, 200, and 800 are still in line on the 1 hour. Okay. So again, if we just remove our drawings here real fast, you can see that the indicator, the Lux Algo Smart Money Concepts, is giving us a few order blocks down here, right, to choose from. We want to use the closest one. So we're going to use that low right there. And of course, this high to draw our fib. And then our blue zone is going to start right here at the 78.6. So that's where we set our alert, right? Okay. Now you can see here, price did not make its way back down to the 61.8 yet at this point in time. So you could check the 15 to see if there's any order blocks that you could counter trend trade from. And right now there's not. So you would be looking for pink order blocks to sell from. Right now you don't have that. You would have to get a break of structure of this low here. And then that would give us an order block that we could draw a fib zone, a fib from to look for a counter trend trade. But again, I'm thinking by dropping down on the time frames here that we'll be able to stick just to the trades going with the trend because they're going to have a higher win rate. Okay, counter trend trades work. You know, I've done them on the higher time frames. They work, but you know, during this 25 trade block, I'm gonna do both of them. Okay. And I'm also going to make a note of that in the note section in the journal as to whether it was with the trend or against the trend, counter trend. So that's what this looks like, guys. So again, it's what you're seeing here on these videos. To watch these videos if you haven't watched them yet about the blue zone trading, but the difference is now the time zones. We're dropping down basically one time zone. So instead of looking for the trend on the daily and the 4 hour and drawing our fib on the 4 hour, we're looking for the trend on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, and we're drawing our fib on the 1 hour. Okay. Then once the blue zone is hit, instead of dropping down to the 1 hour to take the trade, we're dropping down to the 15 minute to take the trade. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do here. And like I said, I'm going to do a 25 trade block. Now, keep in mind that with the restaurant being open, I can only trade during the Asian session. And so I will take trades when they present themselves. And also with this strategy, the good thing is you can set stop orders at the flat top or flat bottom so that you can enter trades while you're not at the computer. Okay, so you could set these up, with your broker, with whatever, system you're using. I'm using Trade Locker right now, and we have a video, that shows you how to set up demo accounts with Trade Locker, but you do have to be a customer of our company in order to get access to that community video that we have. Again, you can try out the company in our community for 7 days. If you don't like it, you can get your money back as long as you're within that 7 day window. You can, maybe start out using our scalping strategy, the one I showed you at the beginning of the video. Use our journal that we give you, take 25, 50, 75, 100 trades. I will tell you this, guys, the scalping strategy works better during the New York and the London sessions. Okay. I found since I can only trade during the Asian session, it's about a 50-50 split for me during the Asian session. And since it's a 1-to-1 risk to reward, you kind of just break even with it. But I've noticed when I look back at the New York session and the London session, there are significantly more winning trades. So it's a scalping strategy, so it works better when the market's moving fastest. And the market moves fastest those first couple hours of the New York session and those first couple hours of the London session. The Asian session is a little bit dull point, the dull point for the market. It does move, but what I've found is a lot of times it will start to move in the direction you want it to move or you think it's going to move, and then it will reverse a lot of times until you get closer to the London Open. And then during that London Open and that New York session, it will make a strong move in the direction that you predicted, right? But during the Asian session, I don't get the same oomph out of the strategy. So the good thing about the blue zone is, using the flat top and flat bottom entry along with the buy and sell shift, you can set stop orders, when you're at your computer, and then they can execute during the night while you're sleeping or during the day while you're at work if you're working during the day. So again, the only difference here with the blue zone is, again, instead of using the daily and the 4 hour for the trend and then dropping down to the 1 hour to trade, we're using the 4 hour and the 1 hour for the trend, dropping down to the 15-minute trade. This, I hope, will give us many more trades, and we'll get more trades going with the trend. We won't even have to use the counter trend part of it, which is a little more risky and doesn't have as high of a win rate from what I found on the higher time frames. But I'm going to do a 25 trade block with this. And keep in mind, again, I might not be able to actually take all the trades on demo because of the fact that I can only trade during the Asian session. I will utilize stop orders so that, orders may execute while I'm asleep or while I'm at the restaurant working. So I will do that when they present themselves. and we'll see how this works out on the lower time frames. I think it'll work just as well on the lower time frames because we're not going down too low, right? We're still at the 4 hour, 1 hour for the trend and 15 minute to take the trade. So any questions, guys, get back to me. And if you're ready to get started with our company or our community, maybe you want to take that 100-day challenge, trade challenge. Maybe you want to try out our scalping strategy using the impulse and our proprietary RSI indicator. Let me know and I'll send you the link. Have a great day.